What's up, everybody? It's episode 53
That's
of
right.
Happily Ever Banter podcast, sponsored by Vaughn Realty Company. Me and Kiki are here. We got some guests going to be jumping on with us shortly,
I'm excited.
remotely. So they're going to jump in with us in the studio here shortly. So we're waiting for them to come on. But we're excited. We're going to have Ashley and Jason Wahler, which some of you may know Jason Wahler from Laguna Beach and the Hills. Ashley was on the Hills when they came back with the Hills a few years back. Me and Jason connected years ago whenever he did the Dale Not Dale podcast, and ever since then we've kept in touch. We text, we talk. He's in my fantasy football league as well. Obviously, Crystal was a fangirl.
I was a fangirl, so I'm like actually a little bit nervous right now. I don't know why. I mean, overall, they're just normal people like us. But it's so funny to fan over somebody that fans over us. It's kind of cool, you know?
Yeah. So like I said, we're excited to get them on. We've been trying to work this out for a while. They're busy. We're busy. We get it. So we finally got it. They're jumping on with us today. So we're excited. Talk about their relationship. Talk about their relationship with his addiction, sobriety, and things like that. Going through that. See how they navigate that. Also, they're expecting a third kid. What they expect from that.
They don't know because they have a girl and a boy. So this one's going to be a surprise on the gender.
Yeah, so they're crazy. I would never do that. But like I said, so yeah, we're excited to have them on. But like I said, this is episode 53. We're like I said, we're officially at a year, finished our year. So it's been exciting.
It has been exciting. It's been a fun, wild ride. I don't know if you'd say wild, but just fun overall, you know?
Yep. No, it's been good. So, but yeah, we're excited to have them on. Hopefully, we're planning to go to Nashville this fall. Hopefully we can, I've talked to Jason before about linking up with them and going to see them there. Maybe catch some dinner, do something fun to really get in front of them and, meet them in person after all these years of me talking with him. But yeah, I think they're about to jump in the studio now. So we're going to kick to the episode with Jason and Ashley Wahler. Don't miss it. What's up, Jason and Ashley?
How you doing, brother?
Hi.
Guys, how are you?
Good.
Thank y'all for jumping on with us. I know we've been trying to get this done. We get it. Y'all got busy schedules. We got busy schedules, but we appreciate y'all.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry about. Thanks for being patient with us, dude. We got wrecked with sickness, and I mean, December
tonsils out. It's just been crazy.
It was nonstop. So appreciate your guys' patience. It's been. It's definitely been a season. Let's just say that.
Yeah, on our side of the family, everybody caught the flu and strep afterwards, but luckily we didn't catch it. Thank goodness.
During Christmas.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, basically from December, like the first week of December, ended up getting the flu that turned into a cold that then turned into a sinus infection for 3 weeks. It was good for the holidays. Son got his tonsils removed. He was amazing, crushed his tonsils and adenoids. He had them out. He's 3 years old. Did amazing. And then like day 3, like you wouldn't even have known he had surgery. Like the first couple of days, we're like, what the hell? Like this is amazing. And then, dude, every hour on the hour
At
awake.
night.
Just like, and so we were trying to fight off sickness, and we ended up
gosh.
getting sick again. So
so
we understand.
tired.
We get it. We understand.
Yeah. Ashley, I don't know if Jason's told you, me and him are probably the two worst fantasy football players in America right now.
I think I got dead last.
Hey, I got second to last. He got dead last. So
Yeah, but it's not fair, dude. I was last pick again, man. They treat me dirty on there.
I was 11th. I know we were the last two picks. It's not a coincidence.
What's our friend's name with the
That's
cowboy hat, man?
hilarious.
He's definitely not. We can't allow him to draw anymore.
Nick. Yeah, I know.
Nick, yeah.
It can't happen anymore, man.
So what's new in the Wahlers household, man? What's new in the life of y'all? What's up, everybody? It's 2025. Happily Ever Banter podcast is brought to you by Vaughn Realty Company. Whether you're buying your first home, upgrading to your dream home, or looking for an investment property, Vaughn Realty Company has you covered. With unmatched local expertise and a team that treats you like family, they're not just finding you a house, they're finding you a place to call home.
So why wait? Start your journey today at vaughnrealty.net, or you can find them at Vaughn Realty TX on Facebook and Instagram. Vaughn Realty Company, where dreams meet doorsteps.
Now, back to the show.
We're having a baby, our third
Yes.
baby. So that's baby, because we don't know what we're having. So we're keeping it a surprise.
So y'all have a girl and a boy, so this one's going to be a surprise.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
fun.
So we're excited. I mean, could be as soon as 3 months from now, which is actually really crazy to think about.
So y'all prepared and everything?
No,
absolutely not.
I figure it's the third. They'll just
they'll figure it out.
They'll just fit in.
So how old are your other two?
Exactly. Sorry, say that again.
How old are your other two?
Wyatt is 3 and Delilah is 7.
Okay.
So
Good little gap there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, our daughters, dude, they're both amazing, but Delilah is just so helpful. She's just got that nurturing soul. And so I'm grateful that she's the oldest and that she'll be able to kind of help and be around and be present for that. But we're excited, man. I mean, like I said, we literally have people coming over today to redo rooms and help with certain things. But Ashley's an incredible mom, and she's just very, very good at that whole piece. So it's exciting, though, because Ashley, part of that process is she's actually looking at taking some time off and potentially working way less. I don't know where that's at, but it's kind of run that motion where she really wants to be just more at home. And we tried that, which is funny, is we tried that when we moved here, and she absolutely hated it. Like, she's a very creative, talking like you're not here, but also. And she just couldn't. She tried it for like 6 months and just wasn't her thing. And but now I think just after we've gotten in the groove, we've been here in Tennessee for 3 years now. She's kind of found a rhythm, and I think you're at a place now where you're really just wanting to be more with the kids and embrace that. Correct?
Yes, because it goes by fast.
Yeah, I think too. It's like just realizing this is our last baby, and our kids grow up so fast, and just really wanting to be able to be more present, especially as Delilah gets older. I think as they're in 2nd grade, the homework starts getting more intense, and it's like something's got to give at some point because. You can either be really great at your career or you can be really great as a mom. And I don't think you have to kind of pick one, to be honest, because one of them has to be sacrificed. And I do feel like in certain areas I'll forget things about what needs to be done with Delilah. And I'm like, I can't be doing this. Like, I need to really be dedicated to my kids right now because they need me. They need my help, schedules, softball, baseball. It all is just the scheduling. And then on top of it, I do hair. So it's like then I'm dealing with everybody else's schedules. And like at some point, I just got
that's long hours too on your feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
I've been doing it for 15 years. So this third baby, I'm like, whoa.
Yeah. So we have two. We have a 14-year-old girl. She's in 9th grade. And then we have a 12-year-old boy. He's in 6th grade. So it's flown by. So we've been in Texas for 9 years.
Yeah.
And so before that, I worked. Because we were originally from Lake Charles, Louisiana. So when we moved here 9 years ago, I didn't have to work, and so I was able to be more involved with the kids, get to go to all their functions. But time before, it was just so hard to take off. Not every parent can get off, and be able to go do things. So being that we moved here and taking the chance to let's just try it out. And I absolutely love it. And there's actually a lot of stay-at-home moms in our community where we live in. So it makes everything
All she does is work out and brunch and day drink. But,
I'm down for that.
I'm jealous.
Hey, and I run a household. Okay, I take care of the
I
kids.
forgot too. I forgot.
I will say, I think definitely being at home as a mother is much harder than going to work.
See, I do everything but cook. Dale does all the cooking. We've been together 22 years, and I've never cooked.
Dale, what are you cooking, man?
Wow.
I started cooking when I was 10 years old. I cook everything.
Oh my
Let's
gosh,
go, man.
I love that.
You come on over and whoop us up something.
Oh,
Yeah, hey, dude. That's what I'm the entertainer. If anything around family, I'm the one that does all the cooking. And then if we travel, I'm the foodie. I'm gonna find all the food spots. That's just my thing.
That's so me.
You gotta have that. You gotta have that person in your group.
Yeah, he's so good at what all he does.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the only person that can mess up macaroni and cheese. So
I don't even think I can do that.
Crystal cooks her eggs in the microwave. So what does that tell you?
They give me such a hard time. It's called a Cajun egg or whatever. I mean,
Disgusting.
sometimes I'm lazy and I don't want to take the pot out, so I'll put it in the microwave. I know that's so gross. Do not try it. You put it, yeah. You put a paper plate. You put it. Oh no, it doesn't make a mess because you put another paper plate on top of it.
Oh yeah, life hack.
no way.
She learned that in prison.
I know, Dale.
Don't get any ideas.
I love to cook. I just actually made 2 fresh sourdough loaves this morning. They're in. Had them all going. I've got like 6 starters. Jason's like, oh my gosh, she is a farm girl.
Dude, it's ridiculous. No, it's like, dude, she's like, oh, I'm gonna make bread, and like all of a sudden, like she was like, oh, I gotta go get starter and stuff like that. Dude, I come to the kitchen like a week later, there's like 9 starters going. It's got like a whole. It looks like a lab in there of like just bread growing everywhere.
It's funny that you say that because there's a lot of people in our community that we live in that are doing this as well. We actually, one of our friends, we just got some this week.
I bought a loaf the other day. It's great.
So good.
Hey man, we'll sell you one.
Yeah, I just ship it.
Nothing better than homemade sourdough bread.
It was so good.
She's mastered it, dude. It took her like 2. The first one was good. The second one was all right, and then like she like crushed. Like, I'm impressed.
Thank you. I love it. It's very good. I just like to cook anyway. I'm Italian. My whole family, we grew up in the kitchen. That's kind of like our love language, is feeding people. And
Dude, I feel like if you weren't like you didn't do hair, I feel like
Be a
hold on.
chef.
Sorry guys, hold on. Where is my other phone so I can put on airplane mode?
I don't have it. It's right here.
Oh,
It's our light.
hold on, you guys.
That's all right.
All right, you guys.
It's our light.
I gotta turn off my
Put on airplane. There you go.
airplane. There we go. Sorry, y'all.
You good?
All right, reconvene. I feel like if you weren't in the hair industry, you'd be a chef.
Yeah, I love cooking. I would. Chef.
I can bake though.
Yeah, I'm not very good at baking.
Yeah, but like she's in the kitchen all the
But
time.
it is interesting because I do feel like even before I started kind of like posting a lot about hair stuff, because I went more into like the celebrity hair world, whatever, I like really wanted to write a cookbook. My great grandma was a cookbook writer. She had my great aunt, sorry, not great grandma. Great aunt was a cookbook writer, and she had 2 best-selling author books, and
Dang.
it was awesome. So, yeah. I just love
So
it.
how's life been with 2? What are y'all expecting with 3? Y'all think it's going to rock your world, or you just feel like it's going to be business as usual?
I mean, with the 2 kids, I feel like we've gotten a pretty good cadence down. I mean, every year is different as they grow. I mean, like you said, I mean, they go from this different interests, different traits, different sports. And so it's you're like constantly evolving with it, but it's I feel like we've gotten a pretty good flow. Obviously, I think having a third is gonna I don't know if I want to say it's gonna throw a wrench in things, but it's obviously gonna be a kickstart again. We haven't had a baby around in some years, and I think we're at that place where we kind of got out of that whole baby phase and we're about to start it all over again. And so it'll be interesting to navigate, but I also believe just with Ashley, being more home and being more present, I think that's going to be very, very beneficial because we've just been nonstop and very, very on the go. And it's actually interesting because we had a conversation just a little while ago, just reflecting again why we moved to Tennessee. And one of the big things was to slow our lives down and to be more intentional. And life happens, and we just, we lost track, and before you know it, just a couple of years later, we were busier than I've ever been in the last 10 years, probably, and I could say probably the same for you.
Yeah.
And so we kind of had to check that and be like, do we want to slow down? So starting into 2025, we've been a lot more intentional with, where we wanted to allocate time, and like our top priorities for myself is literally to have a deeper relationship with God, have more time with family, and have more peace in my life. And so I think with the way that we're structuring and doing what we've done prior to the baby coming, it's going to be instrumental for when the child does come, because we're setting up a routine and a structure to get us back on track and to really refocus. So we're looking forward to it. Obviously, we're very excited. I mean, we want to grow the family, and I know that the kids are really looking forward to having a baby, whether it's a boy or a girl. But no, we're in this phase where we're really enjoying the family time and just wanting to spend as much time with them as we can.
So when did y'all, where did y'all meet at? How'd y'all's lives come together?
Oh my gosh, so we met at a club in LA.
Oh, yeah.
Love Wellness.
that what it was?
2021.
2021.
I mean, 20.
4 years ago.
For those of you that are out there, it's a real thing. It's what I have to deal with every 2021.
Pregnancy brain or
You were
whatever.
7-year-old when we met 3 years ago.
2011, right?
No, 20, this is before I was sober, 2009, 2008.
No. You were just, no, it was.
We met when I was drinking still. I was partying.
Then it was
Yeah, I got sober July 23rd,
Then it was
2010.
2010. So it was
No,
early
it wasn't.
2010. Yeah, because
I'm bad about dates too. I'm terrible with dates.
Bless.
Okay.
So much. I'll tell you the story. Okay, we ended up meeting out at a club. I was still out active using, like, for those of you who don't know, I'm sober now, so it's a big thing. But we had connected, and it was met each other that one night. Never saw each other again.
Wow.
And ended up reconnecting about a year later through mutual friends. We ended up going on a date, but at this time I was actually sober now.
Almost hit 1 year.
I almost had a year of sobriety. It's like 10 or 11 months, and we went on a date, and dude, that was like from there. The rest is history. I mean, it ended up turning into the relationship that we have now. We've been together, like 14 years.
Awesome.
Been married
11.
married 10 or 11 years. So it's crazy. I know the date. We got married 10, 12, 13.
So we're going to be married 12 years this year.
Yeah, we'll be married.
We'll be married 18 this year. We've been together 23 years since we're 19. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Oh, two, dude.
Does it get
Yeah.
harder?
Huh?
Does it get easier or does it get harder?
I mean, you had your ups and downs. I mean,
It's the normal stuff. I mean, we, like I said, dude, literally since we've been together since 19, like besides us going away on like work trips or trips with, whatever, we've been together every day. We enjoy spending time with each other. And then, then years later we had kids, and, I feel like we have a good balance. We still talk crazy at each other and stuff like that.
and through all these years, like we never had breakups, like separation, like, it was never like that,
What's the hardest thing about marriage?
Probably communication. We're bad at probably communicating. Like I probably hold things in and then I let it bottle up and then I lash out.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of people just not like I told this before. We talked about this on the podcast. Even we had a marriage counselor on. I was like,
Oh, they were awesome.
just having like intentional conversations. Like you have just you go through your day to day. You have your conversations. You kind of just talk about the kids and what's going on, but you never like sit down and like have conversations that are deeper or talk about we go to church and stuff like that, but do we talk about our faith together, like things like that? I feel like we don't do enough that I know that we need to, because it just helps strengthen everything. But I think that's one thing we struggle with. I'm sure a lot of people do.
It's so interesting because our therapist, she used to tell us, like, when you go on a date, you need to clarify if it's a business meeting or if it's like a date. And if it's a business meeting, then you talk about finances, kids, anything else. But if it's a date, you don't talk about any of that. Nothing.
Oh, okay.
Nothing to do with the kids. Nothing to do with
Work.
How's that work for y'all?
But nothing to do with like work, finances, anything like that. Like just a date. And
That's something to think about. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was so great.
It was
She
cool.
gave
It
us
creates
that tool
a
while ago.
separation, when you're with one another, and it's like it was funny. I was just talking to another buddy of mine just around the importance of to keep things alive and things like that. It's like instead of having like a roommate, like over the course of time, it's like really like try to bring it back to when you guys you first meet and to go on dates. And that's something that it's everybody falls short of it. I mean, life happens, you get busy, but again, it's the intentionality behind that and the awareness to be able to make that shift and that change. And we're trying to do more stuff like that, and it's beneficial. But one of the biggest things that we went through, through active addiction and codependency and the things that we were struggling with, I mean, it got to a point where communication was non-existent, and I mean, it was literally the hardest thing just to have conversation around the most simple things. And so, after we dealt with what we needed to deal with and go through therapy and go through the process that we did, we ended up, being able, because the communication was the key indicator. It's like you hear, one of the most important things is people want, seek to understand and seek to be understood. And we were just in a place where we couldn't communicate. And, and so communication is a huge thing. And we were just laying in bed the other night, and we just sat there and talked for like a half hour, 45 minutes. I'm like, God, it's nice when we do this, we try to do it more, but it's again, it takes practice. It takes building a habit.
Yeah. So what I was going to ask you about that, obviously you're sobriety and things like that has been one that's out in the open since you're a public figure. But how has that been on your relationship, over the years? How have you handled that? I know it's got to be tough for both of you guys, and then throwing kids in the mix and you're working on everything. How has that been for you guys over the years, like balancing that and trying to, stay together and stay true to each other?
You want to share first or me?
I think that in the beginning, obviously, when things were really bad, and Jason finally went to treatment again, Delilah was really young. So it was
I was going to ask if you had any kids. Okay.
Yeah, so Jason actually went to detox when I was pregnant with Delilah and had her. So I went into labor. Jason was in detox. He was literally on the first floor at Hook Hospital, and I was on the third floor checking into triage. And it was very challenging for a long time because we did have a child in the mix, and that obviously complicated things, but it also gave me an opportunity instead of focusing constantly on Jason's disease, because we got into a position where I became so codependent of his disease and so manipulated by the active addict that I lost a lot of sight of my life, who I was, my morals, my beliefs, my values, all of those things. And when you're so encompassed and ingrained in the addiction, you get so used to that kind of life and that behavior, it just becomes like the norm, that you need something to actively like shake up, like something to really change your whole entire trajectory. And that was Delilah. And when she really came into the world, it gave me an opportunity to stop focusing on him as much and focus more on her, which is like exactly what I needed, because I think that in turns gave me the strength, even without any tools or Al-Anon or anything else, which is something that I had to come to. She was my motivating factor to realize that, like, wow, like I could probably live with addiction my whole life, active addiction, because I didn't have the strength or the backbone or self-worth to change, but I wanted to give her a life that was better. And so she was my motivation to be like, yeah, you can do this to me, but we're not going to do this to her. So I think that really helped. Also, when he went to treatment, I was more, we had done, there's like a family week that a lot of treatments do, where you come in, you write letters, all this stuff. You have obviously a lot of anger, animosity, hatred. There's a lot of resentment that builds up.
Hatred.
I've learned to forgive. But I had then started going to Al-Anon. That was an outside program that I had been given an opportunity to have some tools and be around a community of people that have been through the circumstances that I had, because, it is one of those things where you really can't do it alone. And until you're around people that have gone through what you've gone through and seen the other side of hope, that's when you start crawling out of the hole that you're in. And that started giving me a little bit more wisdom and guidance. And it just got to the point where, I started learning how to have real boundaries and not boundaries that just kind of like moved with wherever they wanted to go. And I think in terms, it's really been so beneficial for basic life skills that we as humans forget along the way, because, when you're in love with somebody, and I think at a young age, I was taught, like to do all the things for the husband, to cater to them, to treat them with, love and respect and all those things. But when you're dealing with somebody with addiction, they really lean on to that, and they can take advantage of all of those things that you have that are giving and loving, because they're feeding their addiction so much. So it just becomes a really bad habit. But I think in the beginning phases, it was really hard. I did get into an Al-Anon program that literally, I will say, saved my life, like the women's program. And I didn't just end up going to meetings. I got a sponsor. I like seeked this lady out, Lori, and I remember going up to her and just feeling like a weight was lifted off my shoulders, because I came from so much shame. I had no idea about addiction. And so I just felt the shame, but also like a lot of fear, of having people find out what was really going on. And it created a lot of relief once I realized that my reality that I thought I was living was just so morphed, until I really could be where my feet are. I'd be like, okay, well, that's not real. This is real. And we're going to do whatever we can to fight the disease, not fight the spouse, And that's really that's really what it came down to. And now, you know, over time, just being able to have those tools, and on the other side, it's been the best thing for our relationship, but it's also been the best thing for our children, because all these tools that you learn in Al-Anon and AA are literally tools you use for your kids. It's like, how do you set boundaries with a 3-year-old? Okay, well, you can't enable them. You have to actually have a boundary that doesn't move so that they learn different behaviors. You know, all those things are so beneficial.
Yeah, no, I great overview, and it's always, it's just interesting to hear, you know, just everything that we've gone through. And, you know, from when we first met, as we alluded to in the beginning, is, you know, I originally got sober July 23rd, 2010, had multiple years of sobriety, and then basically fell off, and then went back into active addiction, and then relapsed on Adderall, and then it turned into alcohol, and then went into psychosis, and, you know, it was just this whole cycle on and off for 2.5, 3 years that led me to a place where literally I was in detox when Ashley was giving birth on the 3rd floor with our daughter. And you know, so I think also, like, one of the pieces, she got to see what it was like, and when I was actively sober, and she's just like, oh, this is, you know, how it is. You know, this is great, things are good. And, you know, but then when my addiction came back, you know, it obviously, like she stated, it feeds and manifests on manipulation and different things, and she didn't have the tools or the resources to be able to take care of herself, and she didn't understand. It was just like totally a left hook, just totally blindsided by the whole thing. And you know, it was a very complex and deep thing. I mean, we experienced a lot of tragedy during that time. We lost multiple patriarchs in our families. You know, her dad unfortunately passed away. I mean, there was just a multitude of things that dominoed that we experienced, and ultimately, I mean, obviously today, it's like looking back, you know, our greatest deficits have become our greatest assets, and we experienced a lot of trials and tribulations that have made us a lot stronger, I really say. And I ask God, please don't test us anymore. But I mean, I think there's not much that we haven't gone through as a couple, especially, I mean, you have to understand, I mean, this is in our 20s, you know, going into early 30s. And, you know, I'm 38 now. And I mean, we've lived and walked a lot of life. And, you know, if it wasn't for Ashley being able to step up and take, you know, control of herself and set boundaries and do what she needed to do, I mean, I shouldn't be here. I mean, the amount I was using, I mean, I'm a full blown, I mean, if you're to compare, again, two totally separate things, but addiction versus cancer, just for the perspective of, you know, stage 1 to stage 4. I mean, I was stage 4, am a stage 4 alcoholic addict, just full fledged, you know. I tell people in the beginning, you know, drinking and using was fun. It became a lifestyle, and it became a way of survival. And for me, it's when it's you're not even drinking to have fun. It's not like I'm going out and doing stuff. It's like straight to the, you know, isolation, drinking from the fifth and just getting smashed, just trying to escape, right? So it's a very miserable existence and not a good place to be. And, you know, I think for people that are out there that know people that are going through things, it's again, as addiction doesn't dictate who we are, but it doesn't justify our actions. So there's got to be accountability and stuff, but it's also understanding the severity of this. There's no such thing as recreational use of heroin. There's no such thing as recreational use of meth or drinking a bottle of vodka a day. Like, somebody's in a sick place going through what they're going through. And so if you kind of can just remove yourself and look from the outside in, that, man, this person's having to go through this on a daily basis just to get through it. And it's like Ashley said, it's you know, don't hate the addict, hate the disease. And again, it's important that you structure and create the boundaries for yourself, because at the end of the day, it's important to know that nobody has the power to change anybody. You have the power to influence change. And that's what she was able to do. I mean, it doesn't matter whether a kid was born, different things. I mean, there's so much that can go to how powerful addiction is. But all those life lessons, I'm so grateful to be where we are today. I just celebrated 5 years of sobriety again in December. And it's just incredible to look back and see all the things that we've gone through, and the growth that we've made, and to be able to be on the other side, to be able to share about this and to be an example. I mean, my children, I'm the first person in my family's last 2-3 generations to raise their kids. I mean, Delilah was alive and born, obviously, but she was not old enough to remember anything. So, I mean, from her being, you know, at a very, very young age, you know, to with Wyatt, like their dad is the first person that's raising them and not an alcoholic household, if you will, or abstinence and drugs free. And so it's pretty incredible, but also it's amazing because it's created this opportunity for us to be very present. And I mean, like, the greatest gift of addiction for me personally is it robbed me of everything, but it also gave me the gift of getting to know myself at the deepest level possible. I was just sharing with a mentor of mine this morning, just, how crazy it is it, it took me 20 plus years of struggle and going through everything to really get to where I'm at, because I was a very confident and outgoing person up until about the age of 13. And I started to slide away after that. And it's like from 13 to literally as just like a couple years ago, even though I was sober, it's still just like regaining confidence and stuff. It's like, I can't believe how much work and how much I had to go through to be able to get back to where I felt like I was comfortable and confident just as I was when I was 13. And it was like a hell of a ride. Would never want to do it again. I'm very grateful. I wouldn't change anything. I mean, there's a lot of things that I obviously have, I wish I didn't do, but I'm also in a place where I'm grateful that I've accepted those things, taken ownership and accountability, because it's a lesson if something happens and you do something with it, right? And so it's created this amazing opportunity for Ashley and I to educate our kids and to be present, to have a deeper relationship with one another, get to know ourselves at a deeper level, and to be able to be here and share and talk, about this type of thing. Because at the end of the day, this is the leading cause of death in America for 50-year-old individuals and younger. The average age of first-time use is 11 and a half years old. It's not going anywhere. Unfortunately, it's just getting worse. If you look over the last 20 years, it's been on a progressive incline with deaths, suicides, overdoses, and you look at that. And so to be at a place where I'm grateful that you guys are sharing and talking about it, because I think the more that we normalize it, that's how systemic change happens. It's there. There's pre-genetic disposition to it. There's also environmental factors that play a role, but you're not going to make a difference or make a change unless you continue the conversation. And for me, Ashley drinks. She's a normie, whatever the hell normal is. But it's I'm not against people that can enjoy themselves. It's I tell people to ask themselves a question. If you're ever questioning or thinking there's an issue, and this could go with anything. It could be work, it could be sex, it could be gambling, it could be drugs, it could be alcohol, whatever it is this adding or subtracting to your life? And really asking yourself and assessing that question. It's not on anybody to determine whether you struggle with something, but if you can really listen to your heart and your intuition and ask yourself that question, if your heart's telling you something, there's probably something you need to address. And so I'm grateful that I don't have to turn to things. I'm grateful that I have the resources and the tools to get out. Just because I'm sober and stuff, I have to work a program. It doesn't mean I'm perfect. Doesn't mean everything's amazing every single day. It's life still happens and it's hard, but I have the tools to combat, whether it's stressful situations, anxiety, if something happens, I have the tools and the resources and the way I'm able to look at it, I'm so grateful, that I have all these things, because there's a lot of people that don't. And I was in a place where I didn't, and I know the hardship that it causes.
So, going through what you guys been through, like, what advice do you currently give, or what advice do you give to couples going through the same kind of things? Being that you've been through it for years, what are some things you would tell a young couple or any couple of age that's going through these problems? Like, what can they do to really help that?
I think I get this question a lot because I get a lot of DMs, and it'll always be like a wife or a brother or sister or somebody that's struggling. And I think the biggest thing is, if you have somebody that's in your household that's struggling, like, you literally cannot live in that environment alone without having some sort of resource. So Al-Anon is like a huge resource. They have other kinds of meetings called like CODA, which is like Codependence Anonymous. And it's just a resource where you can go, and they have Zoom meetings. It's not like you have to be physically in a meeting. There's thousands of meetings all the time, all over the whole entire world that you can attend. And it's just a way for you to sit in and listen to other people's experience, strength, and hope. And I think that is a really easy, free tool to even get more knowledge about addiction. I think a lot of times people think that addiction's a choice, which is exactly how I felt for a long time. And so really educating yourself on what addiction is, and it helps give you a better understanding. But starting at Al-Anon, understanding what addiction is, you'll learn a lot about it in Al-Anon, as well as if you think that the person's really struggling, you need to reach out to somebody. Don't be the person that's trying to be the doctor or the person that's trying to be the therapist to the addict. Like, you're the wife or you're the brother or sister. Reach out for professional help. There are a lot of professionals out there that will help you. If you don't know where to reach out, a lot of times if you find a treatment center, like, they have intervention specialists. Like, there's people that you can reach out to that do this for a living that you can get advice from.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to understand what you're dealing with, right? Like addiction in the simplest form or a dumbified version, not to like away from the scientific piece of this, is that person is willing to give up everything for one thing versus giving up one thing to have everything.
Yeah.
Right? So if you think about that, I mean, that's how deep this is and how insane addiction is. And so I think the best thing that people can do at first is depending on where they're at in this process, right? I mean, because there's literally, it is so multifaceted. It's not, you can't just answer this in a generic. It's where's the situation? How long has this been going on? There's so many pieces that come to it, but in general, to start, it's creating the awareness around what's going on, right? If you're not aware of what's going on, you're not going to be able to accept that. And if you can't accept that, you can't take action, right? So I call it that AAA modality. And so I think it's really important to bring awareness to this. And the simplest thing is for the person that is being directly affected by alcoholism is to get educated, gain awareness and insight to what is really going on. My first advice is to seek a therapist or some type of counselor that understands addiction, that can help you get more versed and understand what that person's walking through and what they're going through. And then on the flip side, if it's the person that is struggling, is being able to just communicate and say, look, dude, I need help. I share from my firsthand experience. Like what worked for me, it was one is I had to get completely open and honest with myself that like, look, I'm powerless over this piece. I'm powerless over alcohol. I'm powerless over drugs. I need help. I need to be able to take guidance. I need to be able to take direction. Because the best of my decision making kept getting me back to those same places. And so it's imperative to seek guidance and get that help. This is something that for me, I tried for many years to do it on my own in the early stages. And it is cunning, it is baffling, it is powerful. And again, as addiction is a disease, it is primary, it's chronic, and it's progressive. And so you need that support. You need, like Ashley was saying earlier, it's something to disrupt that process. And for me, I've seen just after working with hundreds of people now, you got to disrupt the disease. You got to actively arrest it. You got to go, there's got to be an intervention that gets somebody into treatment. And so getting help is the most important thing. So it's that person that's struggling, they need to get help. It's very hard to do it on your own. I've seen very, very, very few, maybe one or two in my life that have been able to do it. And at the end of the day, there's a lot of white knuckling, which is a miserable place to be. And I say that because there's a big difference between being abstinence of drugs and alcohol versus living in a life in recovery. When you are abstinence of drugs and alcohol and you're not working a program, that's where you hear about the dry drunk and all that. Like drugs and alcohol were our solution. The underlying issues is what's between our two ears. It's the way we think, the way we operate. And so it's important to address and to deal with those issues. So, again, I don't know where I'm going with that, but the addict or alcoholic needs to reach out, know that they're not alone, know that there's a way out, know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and that they can completely change their life. And then the other person needs to get educated and understand what they're dealing with, because again, nobody has the power to change anybody. They have the power to influence change, and you got to take care of yourself on both sides. Yeah,
I think that's what a lot of people think they can. They're like, oh, they don't want no help. I can't help them. But like I said, it's a disease like you talk about. It's not like it's something you can just snap a finger and say, hey, you need to stop doing X, Y, Z, and it's going to happen, So
let me give you I think it's important to share this too, like, because people just don't understand, like, why can't a person just stop, right? Like, I remember there was multiple times, and I'm sure you can recollect, where I'd literally be there crying, literally in full-blown tears and meaning it, like I'm being dead honest, but I'm drinking out of the bottle of vodka saying, I don't want to do this anymore. It's like a survival gene. And the only way that I've been able to dumb it down for people that don't have the disease, because you'll never really be able to understand it unless you have it. But is think if you've ever, I'll give you two different analogies. One's, they're both kind of silly, but like think of when, you're dying of thirst and all you can think about is just getting a glass of water, right? Think of that feeling and relate that to your substance at 24/7. That's just kind of the mentality. It's like a survival gene. Think of if you ever had to use the restroom really bad. Like all you can think about, it doesn't matter, anything could be happening, but all you're thinking about is I gotta get to a toilet. Like I gotta go pee. I can't do anything else. Think of that towards your substance. That's like the best way I've been able to try to come up with and explain. Like it doesn't matter, like, until that is completely disrupted and something happens. That is the way that we operate. It is literally like, I will do whatever I can to get that. Like, when I was drinking, it was not about like me being in the moment having a drink. I'm thinking about like, where am I going to get my next drink? Where's the next drink 3 hours from now? Like, it's constantly future tripping. You're not even present, and that's why it's so frustrating trying to have a communication or somebody that's in active addiction, because you're trying to have a rational conversation with somebody that's completely irrational. They're not there. I mean, the way their brain, literally from a neurological perspective, the way it operates is it completely closes off. Like the frontal cortex, which is your executive operating skills, which, brush your teeth, they got to go, run an errand, like that completely gets debilitated. It completely shuts off for addicts, and you lose your right to make your own decision, basically.
Maybe I'm addicted to food. When I'm eating breakfast, I'm already thinking what I'll eat for lunch.
He is. Oh my God, it's terrible. And I'm like, I can't even think about lunch. I said, I'm full from breakfast.
Same way, Ashley.
God.
I look at menus before I get to the restaurant.
Dude, I Google. I'm like, okay, what's on here? I'm already planning out my meals.
In a plastic bag before we go to the restaurant.
I do not.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh man, yeah. No, like I said, I know that's like I know when you were on our podcast, Jason, with me and Vaughn. We talked about. I had a brother that struggles with that. He's 49, still does. And like I grew up with that, seeing that. Grew up in a small town where the drugs and man, like his age group, man, it was a bad. Like had tons of people suicide, overdose, deaths. Like it was an epidemic in our area, and so I grew up seeing that, and for me. I could either, continue the cycle or break it. And, I saw it early age. I'm like, man, I don't want any part of this, and it's easier said than done. But I was able to not go that route whenever it's something I seen a lot of. And, you see the heartache and I see the troubles my mom goes through with him still. And it's like, man, it's tough, man. It's tough to do that. And like, good for me. I was able to not get into that world. Because it's a slippery slope, I can imagine, just from what I've seen.
It is, and I mean, at the end of the day, man, it's always there too, though. You know what I mean? Like, I've half my family struggles with addiction, and it's heart wrenching to watch people walk through it and go through, and even with all the knowledge and the resources that I have around that, again, you can't force people to change, and it's that's truly the meaning of powerlessness, and it's really hard and challenging to watch, because it's like, if they were just to grab a hold and take direction and do what was asked, they're again the simple direction, but it is we make it so challenging. They could have a completely different life, and it's just we lose so many people to this. It's really, really hard, and but it's something that we have to fight for, and it's, again, as I have a choice every single day I wake up. It's alcoholism. It's not alcoholism. It's something that for me, it's a daily reprieve, and I gotta be mindful that I have to work a program to sustain my sobriety and be in recovery, because I do not have the power. I mean, it's a daily thing. You know what I mean? And that beast is still inside me, but I'm suppressing it, and again, using those tools to keep it down.
Yep. Well, I know you guys got a heart out shortly, so Crystal likes to ask every couple we have on just one of these questions. We'd like to get advice from everybody.
Yes. What is y'all's number one marriage advice?
Oh my
Besides
God.
communication, because a lot of couples say communication.
I'm gonna go with making love, baby.
Hey, that was mine, dude.
That was his.
I said we're simple creatures, man.
Yeah, intimacy is a big thing. I think honestly, for both Ashley and I, is it's time together.
Yes,
we are so much better when we spend time together. We're in the same flow. We're in communication. I think it's a higher level than just communication. It's that time that we have together.
Yeah. So not physical intimacy, like not sexual intimacy, but intimacy with a partner, like we were talking about, having conversation.
Sexual too.
Hell yeah.
He's like, take your clothes off, then we can talk.
Like the necessary thing, or the connection is just not going to be good. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that's important. We've had all kinds of responses, and like I guess there's no wrong one, obviously. So, but that's a big part of it.
I also want to add. So obviously spending time, connection with one another, all that. But also what has been instrumental in our marriage is therapy.
Okay.
That is something if anybody is going through tough times or challenges where you're at a standstill and you guys can't break through barriers. I mean, we were literally seeing a therapist every week, if not 2 times a week for years.
Oh wow.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, we've never seen a therapist, and I'm not all
I brought
seeing a
it up.
therapist
She
is all
gets
bad.
mad when I ask her
No, I
about
don't
that.
get mad. I'm just like, I mean, like, I'm like, what do I do? What I say? And I know it's not. Oh, you're going to therapy. Oh, that's a bad thing. You know, it can be a good thing. You know, it could just give you somebody else to talk to, get your feelings out.
It definitely deepens the relationship intimately on a whole nother level when you can dive in and really see each other.
She's completely differently wired than I'm wired, and I don't have the knowledge or the tools or the resource to understand how she operates in some areas of life. And so, like, having a therapist, being able to break that down, provides me a totally different perspective than what I had originally thought. That's where it's valuable, because I have my own thought process on who and what she is, and without having somebody that has a totally different perspective or view, I can't gain that clarity. And so that's where it's like, I'm like, why are you this way? What's going on with it's like, dude, well, do you understand this, this, and this? And I'm like, nope, never looked at it that way.
Great.
Yeah, never crossed my mind.
Well, I think our most therapy that we have together is like having our own podcast and like.
Yeah, I mean, we talk deeper and more on here. This has kind of been our therapy too, you know, because we talk about stuff when it's just me and her. You know, we kind of let it all out there. We don't kind of sugarcoat or keep anything back. You know, I think sometimes we probably share too much, but it is what it is.
Hey,
I think that's great.
that's good.
So y'all have a podcast as well, right?
Well, yeah, it's funny you say, I was just going to say that. It's funny that you're saying what you're saying, because Ashley and I have relaunched Jaws, which is basically us walking through. We originally started the show to give people a firsthand look at what it was like for us going through the first year of sobriety. So after I'd relapsed and all that stuff and was on the trail and back on the wagon, it was basically what Ashley was doing to maintain and sustain, and it was what I was doing to maintain and sustain. And we ended up doing a season 2, and that's when the hills came back. We started shooting again, and we ended up moving across the country, and it was just like, before you know it, we're just like, oh, and again, life happened, and we got to a place where we're like, dude, we really need to, it's been like, we're at year 5 now. You know, we should really re-engage and bring that up, especially so many people are going through this type of stuff. And again, we're not doctors, we're not clinicians, but we have a lot of lived experience, and you know, we share our experience, strength, and hope with people. And but again, it's an opportunity for us to get to be intentional with spending more time together, and it's actually a great thing.
So it's every Wednesday, and it's on YouTube. So we have our YouTube station, and then we are hopefully very soon going to be on an actual podcast, because right now it's just on YouTube.
Okay, that's what I was telling Dale, because I was like, Dale, they started their own podcast. So when I looked back, I was like, oh, well, they actually started it a few years ago. They took a break, and now they're back doing it. And I was like, I'm so silly.
She didn't know that. I was like,
what does
Jason
Jaw
Ashley
stand for? I was like, oh my God, Jason Ashley Wahler.
Hey.
Well, the whole thing too behind it was Jaws. We're like, it's Jason Ashley Wahler, but it was like in the jaws of addiction. Like when we first started, like, we'll just keep it anyways because it's our initials at least.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everything gets by Crystal.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to get to know me. I'm silly as ever. Like,
It's so good. Hey, I
I have my own language. Everybody says I have crystalisms, whatever that is. I have my own language.
No, dude, I can't even read her text messages. Like every text she sends me, I reply back, "Huh?" Because it makes no sense.
Because I don't text. I use the microphone thing. So half the time I don't check before I send it, and I look. I'm like, oh my God,
Steve Jobs couldn't even fix her dialect.
Dude.
He does the same thing, but he checks it. I never use Siri. I can't stand it. Drives me insane. I'd rather just type it, because then I know it's coming out correct.
Yeah, because then you back. Yeah.
Oh man. But yeah, hey, we appreciate y'all jumping on with us. I told you we planning on this fall making a trip to Nashville with us and one of our best friend couples. So if we do, I'll get with you. Maybe we can try to link it up, man. It'd be cool to catch up in person. But yeah, that's we went years ago, but we plan to go this fall. So once we get that,
we can have you guys on Jaws.
There we go.
Yeah, that'd be exciting. We love Nashville when we win. We actually stay on the outskirts, I guess is what you call it.
Yeah, we stayed in was it Ocean Breeze or something? Summer.
Sure you're staying in Laguna Beach, man?
No, not Ocean Breeze.
Cool Springs.
Cool Springs. Ocean Breeze, man. Close.
Yeah.
And Franklin.
They got big oceans in Nashville.
Cool Springs is literally 10 minutes for us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because we had drove to like Franklin and we did some of the little
Yeah.
exploring there, and then we did.
We'll take you guys off roading.
There we go. All right.
Oh, it's beautiful.
So
It's
good.
beautiful there.
Well, thank y'all again for jumping
Yes,
on.
thank y'all.
Jason, I'll be in touch, man. But Ashley, we appreciate finally got to meet you.
Yes.
So nice to meet you guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah, dude, better picks for us next year,
I was
man.
gonna say good luck next year. 'Cause
Yeah, no. I'll tell you, I'm gonna try to rig this for us, Jason. We can't do this again.
We need to be a team on this one, man, and just we'll start swapping players and stuff.
There you go.
Yeah, we'll take it down.
Yep. All right, man. Well, thank y'all again. We'll catch up, man.
Bye.
God bless, guys. Take
Yeah.
care. Have a good day.
Bye.